Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford Coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look at Buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
We've been talking about different things with different cars, and the thing with China and the Volvo getting their, and Polestar getting their cars in here cheaper than the American, so they can outsell the other manufacturers, the other European manufacturers, I believe. Because if the car is made here, it's got to be a little cheaper with it. Well, it doesn't have to be, because they have cheaper labor rates over there. But I'm telling you, for every rule and every law, there's a way around it. There's always some way to cheat. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's cheating. I don't see it as fair. Chuck, I think and especially coming not from our labor sources. Yeah, see, China buys the Buick Envision crossover. That's what their big deal is. They're using that as the drawback so that they can, China imports the Vision, right, and exports the Volvo and the Polestar.
I wonder if they have problems with, China's very strict emission standards. They have to get rid of those Volvos.
Oh, yeah.
Ship them here instead.
Yeah, emission standards. China, they just built like 3 or 4 more coal-fired plants to fire up their electric vehicles in China.
Since we started the show today, they built 3 more plants.
You can bet on it. I'm telling you, they lead the league in electric vehicles on the road.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. They have the infrastructure. It's not an environmental infrastructure, but they have the infrastructure. They have the electricity to plug into. That's what I'm trying to say.
They overbuilt their infrastructure.
Yes, they did.
Right.
And they overbuilt and they overpolluted with it. Belching black smoke all the way, but they don't care. We're the only ones that care about environmental, and we're the only ones spending money on it. Ford Motor Company, the Blue Cruise standard. Blue Cruise will be standard. That's the self-driving or the self-driving. But the problem is, you can't have that unless you subscribe. There will be a subscription revenue for the automakers. Ford customers will be able to activate Blue Cruise at the time of purchase for 3 years for $2,100 after a free 90-day trial for $800 annually and $75 a month. On select Lincoln trim models, 4 years of Blue Cruise will be included with the purchase price then customers can subscribe after that. So on the Lincolns, you get it free because they're already overpriced.
So what happens if you're in the middle of a drive when it expires? Like it hits midnight, does it just turn off? Like you're on your own here.
That's an interesting thought. What if your application or your subscription expired? You forgot. I mean, it's like going out one Sunday morning and there's no newspaper. Doggone it, I forgot to renew my prescription.
Right.
Or subscription. I haven't got prescription on the brain.
Right.
Anyway, so this subscription thing, and that's expensive as far as I'm concerned.
$75 a month?
Well.
Is that what that says? That's insane.
After a free 90-day trial, they sign up for 3 years for $2,100 months. Or after a free 90-day trial, $800 annually or $7,500 a month.
$75 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not terrible.
So what does this entail, though? What does this give you?
Hands-free highway driving.
So just enhanced. Basically, all you get out of this is enhanced cruise control, essentially.
Yeah. Ford believes that investing to include that hardware standard from the factory and giving customers the flexibility to choose when and how they activate is the right approach, said Ashley Lambricks.
Okay, so
like a commercial acceleration. Well, that's the same way with the radio. with the satellite radio. If you don't want it, I've never turned the satellite radio on in my
now
car.
I'm thinking about this though. Like I'd only really use that when I make my long drives. I only make those. So I'd basically call them, whip out the credit card, and go, "Hey, can I get this cruise control for the next 13 hours or so?"
No,
and then
I
go ahead
think
and turn
you
it
got to
off.
subscribe per year. I think you got to do it for.
It's not like a pay-per-view kind of thing. I just turn it on, and
or you can have 20. You can save $300 by doing it $2,100 for 3 years.
Wow.
And you can save that money.
I wonder if that includes the heated seats or if that's extra.
No, that's just the beginning.
Changing colors of the LEDs.
In other words, are you going to get a receipt come flying out of your radio, look like a receipt from a restaurant?
Right.
1 cup of coffee, 1 BLT, one. You had the Bluetooth, you had this, you had that, you had this, you had that.
Satellite radio and
Here's
Wi-Fi.
Here's your $4 million bill. Pay it.
Right.
Or we'll stop your car and come get it. That's exactly what they're going to do. I'm telling you. They have you right by the hair, right in the head. New vehicle inventory went up last month slightly, while staying in the same tight band it's been in all summer. Hasn't been very good. This is Cox Automotive and Automotive News Research and Data, which is one of my go-to places. Unsold inventories crossed back over 1.9 million units in mid-May, according to Cox estimates, and have undulated in a small band all summer. Despite strong sales, they have yet to cross back over the 2 million benchmark they hit last year in April 2021. If they had that kind of cars unsold, that's another thing we got to talk about in a minute here too. The broader trend lines that have emerged this year as the industry continues to recover, production and inventories held true again in July. The tightest stock levels again were among the lower priced vehicles and segments, while today's supply was much more plentiful as pricing increased. So nobody wants to spend that kind of money on a car, so that's why they weren't buying them. Now they're buying the cheaper ones. But I'm lost here. The tracking of the cars. I want to know something. Was it 2020 or 2021, when all those pickup trucks sat in a field somewhere,
right,
and didn't get sold? Where are they now?
Well, that was a question we had, when we had the chip shortage. I talked about being in Michigan and seeing these fields full of vehicles.
Absolutely.
That my understanding was they were just missing the chip. And so that was the question, is how, once you leave a vehicle sitting out in the elements for 6 months or a year, how do you turn around and sell
I
that
think
as a new
we've
vehicle?
had our chips for longer than that. I think they're going to write all that off. They're going to destroy them. They're going to melt them down and destroy them. I know they have a shredder type of thing that will sort aluminum and steel and fabric and leather and all that other stuff. But it's just, I just get a kick out of this because now we could have been selling those cars. People would have bought them. You made them a righteous price. Why couldn't you come down $5,000 or $6,000 instead of overpricing?
Or they send them to Mexico or China or something like that.
They could do that too. They could send them somewhere. They can send them anywhere they want, as far as I'm concerned. But I just think this whole thing was. I'm not happy the way this whole thing worked out. Let's put it that way. I'm going to stop short of calling it something else. And I just don't think. I don't think it was done right, Charles. I just don't get it.
We talked last week about the idea that if any of your suppliers have a shortage or go on strike or something like that. So, for instance, if your seats aren't available, they don't just put them out. I mean, they'll make a certain number, but they're not just going to start filling, fields full of the cars. They're going to wait until the seats. They'll just stop the line. So
everybody goes home.
Everybody goes home until we have these more seats.
Exactly.
So it's weird that they would have built that many cars. They probably assumed the chip shortage was going to be short-lived. It's just odd that they would build that many.
Well, the whole chip shortage, whether you realize it or not, or I don't know if Chuck realizes it, but this is the truth behind the chip shortage. When the COVID hit, automakers saw sales going down, and they did not renew their orders for chips.
Okay.
Down the road, these manufacturers that were making chips for them are making chips for everything else now.
Yeah, especially like in China, these factories can change on a dime. It's the idea that, oh, you don't need that chip anymore. That's fine. We'll stop making it. We'll switch over to something else.
That, or they're busy. They just got other work. They got other. They got other sales. They don't need your Ford, Chevy, and Chrysler. They don't need you. And so now, when they want to get their order back to where it belongs for chips, now they couldn't get it right away. They ended up getting it a lot sooner than they'll let you know. But yes, they they brought this on themselves.
Right.
The automakers brought this on themselves. The chip shortage. Well, sure, it was COVID related, but it was brought on by mismanagement. Mismanagement. You heard it from me first, and you can tell him I said that. I don't care. I don't think Rick will get mad about that, will he? Hey, he might. The electric vehicle share has gone flat through June. Just past, we're not going with July and August yet, but 7.1% is all there is on the road. After 2 years of sharp growth, electric vehicle market share stayed flat from January to June. That's 6 months. New Experian data shows. Tesla leads the market, but isn't immune from the slowing segment. And Tesla should lead the market. They're the first ones on the block. Electric vehicle share of the new vehicle market flattened out at 7.1% across the first half of the year after growing steadily in 2021 and 2022, according to U.S. new vehicle registration data, sound like I'm from the East Coast, from Experian. Is the party over? Not right, not really. But in the fast-growing U.S. market of the moment, as microchip supplies improved and the production of popular gasoline engine autos returns in force this summer, electric vehicles are no longer outpacing the rest of the car business, at least for now. They came out like gangbusters, Chuck. Electric vehicles came on and boom, boom, boom. Tesla, which sells about 6 of every 10 electric vehicles, saw its red-hot growth cool in recent months, despite deep price cuts this year and growing sales incentives, the data shows.
Well, we also, you could look at that as a percentage of sales, but also, I mean, I was reading the other day about like new home sales have gone flat. All these things that have gone flat, these are indicators of the big R word coming. And so let's not just blame Elon and whatever. You can look at it that way, but I'm saying it is an indicator of a bigger problem.
The big problem is, and unlike housing and everything else going flat, they jumped up and they spent the farm on electric vehicles, and the only one that is selling electric vehicles is Elon.
Right.
Everybody else, what are we going to do now? 7.1%, and the government wants you to be all electric by 2030 or 2035. How's that going to happen?
I think we should. Maybe we talk about this after the break a little bit. We talk about the idea of market segments and who is looking for what kind of car right now and things like that.
I've got it all. I did a little private survey last week, and I got an idea. I got to tell you, we've been talking about this for a while, and it's time we hash it out. It's time. It really is time. The electric vehicle market, the dynamics, the trends are not what they should be. Not with the money that's being invested, Chuck. I mean, how much money have these car companies put into these new plants, new batteries, everything but electricity? We don't have any electricity for them. And then they're finally starting to do some charging stations. They're finally coming through with that now. But they're still got no place to plug the charging station in.
Right.
Not that's going to last.
Well, so the way I was thinking about it was, at some point, whether I like it or not, I'm due to go get a new car.
Uh-oh.
And, well, I mean, you're going to try to keep this one going as long as we can.
Ooh, I'm running out of bubble gum and Bailey winter on that one.
But if I go to look at a new car, let's say I go to a used car lot, I'm going to give them sort of a criteria. And I think most people come in, they say, well, I want a 2-door, I want a 4-door, I want this SUV, whatever. They may not be as adamant about like a Ford, a Chevy, whatever. They might say, well, what do you got? What do you got in an SUV? But there's a big leap between saying, okay, a Ford, Chevy, whatever, or a Tesla or an electric. because now I can't just take it home. I have to put that infrastructure in, right? So I have to start thinking about
where am I going to
charge it at? Where am I going to install a charger at my house? Do I
And
have a
how
place to put it?
often will the power be going out now with everybody buying electric? I don't think they have to worry about everybody buying electric. I don't think anybody's buying electric.
Well, and so what I wonder about, though, is will you reach these sort of points of saturation where the people that love the Tesla, they love the idea, they all ran out and bought one. I read about these guys. You know, the Cybertruck has started shipping, apparently. So there's these guys that they put deposits down in the Cybertruck 2 years ago, like sight unseen.
Oh, I know.
And so the first group, it's kind of like the people that wait for the iPhones. You know, there's a group that no matter what, they're the first ones in line. So there's this group that buys it up whenever a new the Cybertruck, whatever, and then it sort of slows down.
I'm going to wait for the first price cut.
Well, I'm going to wait for the first price cut. I'm going to wait until they get through the first round of recalls, whatever. They have that next batch. They're going to wait. They're going to buy the next year. But then you reach a certain point where all of the people that have easy access, we have a garage, I can install a charger, no problem. Once you get through that group, people like yourself are the next ones up, and you're going to go kicking and screaming. So a lot of older folks, a lot of people that rent, people that don't have a garage, all these people are saying, I can't do this. I can't install a charger. I'm not going to run an extension cord down the block.
Exactly.
So there's all these people. So I think you're right. There's going to be a certain, I guess it would be called like an inflection point for electric, and then everybody else is going to be going and kicking and screaming.
They have not even addressed the fire system yet.
Right.
They haven't gone and got people feel confident about having a charging station with a car charging in their garage and not exploding into flames. Okay, they're not happy yet. Now, Pete, you're right. The people that went out and bought the Teslas was because it was a cool thing to do. And those are people that would have bought an electric car if it was named Horus instead of Tesla. I mean, I don't care what you name it. They would have bought it. Those people are the 7.1%. Everybody else is going, whoa, I want no part of this. I'm not going to do it. Well, what in God's name are these car companies going to do to recoup their losses? The billions and billions and billions of dollars that they put into advertising and to research and development and batteries and plants and mining and all that stuff that ruins our planet. I mean, what are they going to do with those losses? Those are huge. This is not like one car is being recalled, it costs $1 million. That's nothing. When you've got electric cars sitting all over the place and you're outside your plant and you can't sell them, that's big.